Noam Chomsky's hard spot for JFK leads him to leave out important matters, such as the fact that JFK spoke up for the Buddhists of Vietnam, uh, believed we should avoid war in Southeast Asia, and encouraged independent movements. He sees the ideological sweetheart deal JFK cut with a generation who was cheated of their admiration for him and the happy days that gave birth to his administration as the cause of conspiracy theories about what happened to him. In other words, his ideological orientation about JFK leads him to negate the search for the truth, or the idea that those of us who care are after the search for the truth. So, if you believe that Noam Chomsky is just panheaded, then the idea that he had some role in it doesn't enter the picture. So, of course, one would say that his panheadedness and his role playing and having a role, I should say, doesn't amount to a mutually exclusive proposition. Many pinheads appear to have been involved. However, it's incoherent to say that Chomsky is a pinhead. He's brilliant. So there must be some other explanation, more like role playing, at least, especially if he's implicated in the letters of Gail Burstyn. What we have is a situation where Russia and the Ukraine have carved out a parameter, and one of the first um, casualties of war is civilian freedom, subordination, militarization, um, and armed is always the result of armed combat. Now we know that Russia has fallen to an inside clique of oligarchs that um, Trumpy tunes many and shot a Ukrainian woman on the set of a movie at the onset of the war, before the war got going, and that these Paul Manafort was always very close with the Russian oligarchy in the corrupt areas of the Ukraine. So what gives us probably that they're trying to militarize us for genocidal combat of the sort that we're seeing from the Uspensky Circle now in these days. What happened in the Cold War is that after World War II, it was discovered that the fossil fuel industry had made tons of money on war, and mass production side also. So, in order to keep the fossil fuel going, we needed to give birth to the convenience of gas guzzling cars and inefficient suburbs to maximize the fossil fuel industry's flame over Africa. And being brilliant scientists, they plotted ahead to this day. And so that's where the situation stands. We're dealing with the criminally insane, and I think it's important for people to focus on the municipal catastrophe wrought by Yoko Ono's iron fist hold over the lobbies of Seattle, who followed Foucault's amoral psychology of moral relativism and profiteer off of disaster and criminal, cruel, sadistic victimization of the sort I have accused Governor Inslee of perpetuating by poisoning me in the mouth as a signal, as a midge to smelt the onslaught of COVID 19. I, I wonder why people put off my intelligence about the AIDS attack. It seems they disregarded my intelligence, my deafness, the strange nerve injury that I was poisoned with, just as accounts of a poison gas in Yobeni, a Zulu neighborhood, Arizona, is going to be dismissively regarded, despite its similarity to Uvalde. People aren't going to connect the dots to use Schwarzenegger's prompt. What's going to happen instead is more likely that they're going to continue with their lives and their doggerel and their evasions. That's the nature of municipal Seattle. They avoided any kind of intelligent regard of the script and the papers that I brought forward. They ignored the logic of somebody. You see women fighting abortion, going out and saying, "Oh, sleep with anybody I want to," having quite a romp, just to be spiteful. And they can't conceive of people releasing aids trying to taunt someone like me into misbehavior and search for what was going on, while conspicuously leading a mousetrap by breadcrumbs, hoping the penis Gabriel could sweep away all of the trail before it was seen by someone else. They tried to destroy the evidence. My father was chair of philosophy of a major university, chair of philosophy of education, I should say. So if you buy that all of these things were midges in the smelt of the imagination, then you don't mind COVID-19 appearing from the Ouspensky circles, magic from Mellon Institute's advanced materials and devices laboratories and so on. Because after all, words have no effect on you. You can see the logic of it. You haven't been brainwashed into believing that the human race should have a commonwealth and where our children are safe. That's a no-no. I don't want to impugn my favorite hero, Greta Thunberg, and nor do I want to endanger her. But I think Paul McCartney should lay off me, not because it's a threat only to the people that I love, but because I know he's manufacturing this threat someone towards Greta, and someone else might be able to read his slippery wheel, his slippery eels, because they never hurt their own, and take off after her in indignation at the other stunts the rabbit has been pulling. Greta, I think you need to think things through, and I'm sorry you've been saddled about all this by Robert Fripp of King Crimson. We are dealing with the criminally insane. And like you, I believe that all children should have a chance. Like you, I believe that the elderly have been disabused of the idea that they were going to be protected from serious shocks and fears and traumas by the Republican Party. We know better now. Trumpy Toon has authored an enormity with his pals in the Russian oligarchy, and they're standing judgment over us from the Roman Orthodox Church throughout the world, saying abortion shall now give way to the holy edict of Clarence Thomas and his wife Jeannie. We're dealing with the criminally insane. These people have no place in our legal systems. They should be impeached and consigned to insane asylums.